Welcome to the IT Smart Guy podcast, a technology podcast aimed at the modern business owner. And here's your host, Tony Edwards. Hello, and welcome to episode 8 of the IT Smart Guy podcast, the tech-based podcast for the modern business owner. I'm Tony, and in this episode, we'll discuss LastPass's gift that keeps on giving, how Google are trying to prevent scams, and also changes that are afoot at Waze. We have our next guest on, Gareth Jones of Oak Hill Embroidery. He's going to tell us how technology has helped him with his business, and as always, at the end, I'll be sharing my tip of the episode. Let's jump straight in to the news. Let's look at what's happening in the news. So, LastPass has been in the news again recently. It seems that the August data breach is just that gift that keeps on giving. The password manager, used by millions globally, recently announced that a further security incident had been discovered and is currently under investigation by leading security firm Mandiant. LastPass found that an unauthorized party had gained access to certain elements of customer information that was housed in a third-party cloud storage service used by LastPass and their affiliate GoTo. And this was all achieved by using data obtained in the August breach. Now, according to reports, Mandiant and LastPass are working around the clock to understand the scope of the incident and what specific information has been accessed. LastPass have said that work on the investigation is ongoing and they'll continue to deploy additional and enhanced security and monitoring capabilities across their infrastructure to help prevent further threat activity. The one saving grace is that their customer passwords are all still safely encrypted. It's just the other data that could be out there in the open. From LastPass, we go to Maps and Waze. So Google has made the decision to merge the team it has working on Waze with the team that oversee Google Maps. And the merger is going to start on the day this episode is released, Friday the 9th of December 2022. Now, Google purchased Waze in 2013 for just over $1 billion, and up until now it's been fairly independent, with Waze having around about 150 million active users each month. And Waze is so much more than just a map and navigation tool. There is a thriving community behind the software, all trying to help other Wazers reach their destinations safely. Now, the best part about this news story is that there are no planned layoffs, and with the impending feeling of a post-pandemic recession across the globe, Google CEO Sundar Pichai wants to boost company productivity, and this merger is a great first step. Essentially, they'll have one team evolving the Google product set, Maps, Earth, Street View, as well as Waze, meaning increased collaboration, which will lead to the products continue to improve, potentially at an even more rapid rate. Thumbs up from me. Continuing with Google, they've recently shared information about its lawsuit against those people and those scammers that are attacking small businesses. Now, according to this announcement, which was made in November, scammers are impersonating Google and then charging fees for users to create a business profile, which is something any business can do right now for free. The scammers target small businesses through phone calls, and they will use websites containing false, negative, and positive reviews in order to impact the way businesses appear in search and map results. Now, while Google is making its best efforts, it's also our responsibility to keep an eye on our own online presence. And it's a good idea to check your business profile on Google and also to set up Google alerts about your business as a way of doing that. So that's really it for the news. And that's because our guest this week is Gareth Jones of Oak Hill Embroidery. And we talk for a little bit longer than was originally planned. Let's take a look now, shall we? The interview. So we now come to the interview part of the podcast, and in this episode, we've got my good friend Gareth Jones from Oak Hill Embroidery. Bring him into the podcast now. There he is. Hey Gareth,
Hey,
how's it going?
really well, mate. Really well. It's a nice sunny Friday afternoon in southeast London. What about yourself?
Yeah, it's nice and bright here after the torrential rain we had yesterday. So it's the perfect day to be recording a podcast.
Yeah,
Or is it the
yeah,
perfect day to be out in the pub and having a pint? Maybe
definitely
that's
the
later.
part. Definitely the part.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on. So we've known each other for a couple of years now, but to everybody that listens, tell us a little bit more about who you are.
So, as you've already said, I'm Gareth. I'm from Oak Hill Embroidery, which is based in Beckenham, which you'll find in southeast London. I'm originally a Northerner. You might hear that from my accent. Oak Hill Embroidery, we provide workwear to all kinds of different businesses, whether you be a one-man band or this year we've actually done a job that was included as part of the Commonwealth Games, and everything in between, really. It's all embroidered or printed clothing and workwear. So if you've got a club or a business, we're the guys to come to.
Brilliant. I feel like I'm doing you a bit of a disservice today because I actually don't have one of my branded shirts that you've done for me.
That is true. That is true. You are also a customer as well as a friend. And a supplier to us as well.
Yeah, but when I work at home and I'm not going out to see clients, I'm like, I won't get one of those shirts dirty, but I should have put one on for today.
Well, you see, this is the problem, mate. You're not living the dream. The self-employed dream is, you've reached it when you've got one of our dressing gowns with your logo on it or your towels.
Mate, you might have to hook me up. So, how did you get started in the embroidery game? Let's go into that. Let's go back into your story a little bit.
Okay, so my finding myself in embroidery has a few twists and turns to it, because it wasn't just simply a case of I'm going to start an embroidery company. When I was 19, I lost my brother, unfortunately, in a car accident. At that point in my life, leading up to that, I'd always, as a child and a teenager, imagined that I wouldn't really work for somebody else. I'd have my own business. I didn't have a clue what that business would be. I was always artistic, and people would often say to me, my parents predominantly, "Oh, you should be like a draftsman or something like that." It was
funny because let me just cut in there, because when we were chatting about this backstage, you told me this story, and it's funny because my dad is a builder by trade, and he wanted me to be either a draftsman or an architect.
See,
and it didn't happen, but
well, you didn't mention before your dad was a builder, so that would make total sense now. That all of that coming together. Your dad was a visionary there. You should have taken him up on it, although you're an amazing IT guy. No, everybody always said I should be like a draftsman, or a graphic designer, or something like that. I think the whole idea was just design in general. I'd win little competitions at school for like the bonfire night that was at the McCain's ground, or like designing the little pamphlets or something for school plays and stuff like that. But it never really dawned on me that you could do that coming from a small town. I don't know. Anyway, I'm off piece here, so back on it. We lost Christopher, my brother. He was a mechanic. He knew that he wanted to be a mechanic from a young age. I was just starting college courses, finishing, dropping out, that kind of thing. And then one night, after a few drinks, funnily enough, Tony, with the first ever PC computer, it was one of the HP ones, with a little blue frame with the speakers on the side.
Yeah.
This was 2001. So I was bought one of them by my parents, and I took a break from playing pinball continuously on it and looking at what delights you can find on the internet as a 19-year-old lad. And I decided to go onto the job centre website. And I just started thinking, what could I do as a career? What would be like a nice legacy, like for me to do something with my life and try and be a little bit more like my younger brother? And I stumbled across the words graphic designer. So that was it. Boom, that's it. I'm going to be a graphic designer. Well, how do I do that? And over the next few weeks and months, I was able to get myself onto a local college course doing art and design. I'd had really bad grades at school, so I had to start quite low down. But they saw that I was a couple of years older and I was serious, so they bumped me up. So instead of having to do 3 years at college, I ended up just doing 2. I then managed to get myself onto a university course in Lincoln, studied graphic design at Lincoln. Not long after finishing that, I moved to London because the streets are paved with gold, obviously. Did little bits of jobs as graphic designer, never really earned enough money. It was all very much like internships and stuff like that. A job came along to work in print. So I thought, I'll go and do that for 6 months. If nothing else, I'll be able to reprint my portfolio and be good to find a better job. And I did that for a few years, working for a print company, different kinds of roles within that organisation. And then, I don't know, it just came to me like, you know what? It's time to like grasp the nettle. It's time to like get the destiny in my own control. So I think I'll be honest here. I think I was due a bit of a bollocking. so I thought, you know what? I don't like this job anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't like this guy that's going to give me a bollocking. So I'm going to just switch everything around. So I basically wrote like a nice 2-line letter of
resignation.
Resignation. There you go. That's how long I've been self-employed. Yeah. So I wrote a resignation letter. Went up there. To be fair to the guy, he was a nice guy, and he was like, "Gareth, come on, we should have a chat about this." He took me over the road for a pint. He was like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure? Are you sure?" My wife, at the time, fiance, was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And I was like, "No, I'm telling you, this is it. We're going to hit the big time. We're doing it." So I did it. I bought machinery. I had a premises, and that was it. I was going for it. Then I started, and in reality of actually having no customers and monthly reoccurring bills, not just personal ones, just the business ones. The realization of that dawned on me, and was I think if I was going to be honest, the first few years were horrific, and only because of probably stubbornness, foolishness, whatever
determination.
Determination. There was a determination, but I knew that this was. There's that part of your brain where you know things are going to work out, and I have probably too much of that side of the brain, and then the other side of the brain probably too little, where the reality of it is you should probably go and get a real job. But I battled, and I battled. We got married. We'd already bought a house. We had a beautiful daughter together. It was hard work, and I'm not gonna. A lot of people have been in this situation where you have a wife who is wanting you to do something else, and I don't know, a long period of time it still wasn't great. There was glimpses of what the future could be like, and I persevered with it. And then one day I'd realised that I'd had a couple of ideas in my head for other ways that I could maybe get more business into my business. And one of them was that I'd been doing a lot of uniform, but it was heat press, so essentially vinyl and stuff like that. And I'd come to the realization that these ideas were only ideas, and actually what I should do is just commit to one of them, do it, and then if I can't do it, I've got to stop thinking about it and just find something else to put my 100% into. So I landed on, I was going to buy this embroidery machine. And I remember I'd called up, I'd managed to go through the credit process of buying this thing. And the day came, it arrived, and I was like, this is fantastic. I'd already, because I was excited and I had that momentum of it coming, I'd gone around customers that I had, and I had loads of orders to go on it. And it was great. It felt, it just gave me a right buzz. I absolutely loved it. So the day comes, it's arrived. It's in the corner of my tiny little studio that I had at the time, and I'm halfway through the training, and then I don't know how I'd forgotten this, but I'd actually worked in an embroidery place when I was about 16, and I'd forgotten. I even started the training, and it was only halfway through. I was like, wait a minute, and I remembered I've done this before. So I've technically been in this industry since I was 16. I'm 40 now. I know I look older. And the first year of having that machine, my fortunes really turned around. We got a great customer base. I found it to be a much easier sell than some of the print products that I was selling. And then within a year of buying that machine, I'd moved into larger premises, and it was time for me to buy another machine. And I'm pleased to say this is that other machine. 2 days after signing on the dotted line for this, I was given the opportunity to buy out a local competitor that had been going for nearly 40 years. That was too good an opportunity to miss. There was a bit of negotiation, and we landed in a good place. The man that I bought it from, a lovely man called John, he was approaching 90, so he really did want to retire. So it just sometimes you need the stars to align, the planets, whatever, and we pulled it off. This was at the end of 2019, so we all know what happened next with that.
We do indeed.
Yeah. So, but that is basically how I got into it, and I love it, and I have a real passion for it. I definitely 100% know that when you're within your business, it doesn't matter all that you've got staff. You want people to look good on it, and it creates. It's the first thing of trust. I always say in people's subconscious. It's like you see people in uniform. Whether you like the word or not, it shows that they're professional.
Yeah,
and that's what we do.
And you do it in a really down to earth way as well. I've been, like you said, I do bits of IT bits and stuff for you. I've been to your shop a few times, and the way you are with customers, it's not, you don't see that in very many other places. You are down to earth, and that was meant as a compliment, mate. You're down to earth, you're professional, but you're also willing to have a bit of a giggle with people and that sort of thing. And it's just that mix of professionalism and that human element, I think, just make what you do work. And I hope your success continues.
Thank you.
So what my next question is, how has technology helped you with your business, let's say since the pandemic?
What I'm finding, I might sound like a bit of a dinosaur here to you and some of your viewers, so I'm sorry if I do, but I'm amazed at how much you can do within business now on one of these little things. Obviously, you've got your Xero and QuickBooks and stuff like that are achievable on there. I do a lot of my ordering. One thing I've tried to sort of do more this year is enjoy holidays with my family. Now, as you've just said, I'm quite engrossed in my business, and sometimes I know something more than what my team will know. So little things like if I have to add something to ordering because I can remember what happened last time, this is where it's probably, not the best practice, and we should maybe get that down better in the future. But the fact that you're able to work really realistically from your phone, just with the stuff that was already there before the pandemic, I feel like that's got better. But with what I do, it's very visual. So there's a lot of video that goes out to customers, and there's a lot of imagery that goes out to customers. Yep. And one way that we've been able to enhance that is with two very simple apps. So the first one is Photo Room, which I just find absolutely fantastic. And then the other one is Video Leap. Both of them, stuff that you would have paid a graphic designer to Photoshop before, stuff that you would have given like a video editor. Now, I'm not taking anything away from graphic designers because you still need them, right? Even with Canva and stuff like that, that is great, but you're using something that everybody else can use as well, and we do need to stand out. So the way I always see it, these technologies, although they will get better and will become more bespoke over time, and can be now as long as you've got a design flair, but not every plumber is going to have a design flair, or even social media manager. It is what it is. Some people do, and that's where these apps are really good. And I think for quick fixes, so I've actually done some little bits of design for people. It's designs that we already had, and they wanted another element added to it. It's like Christmas cards, stuff like that. So we were able to do it in that app, and I was able to do that while I'm sat there listening to the wife talking about whatever it is at work that day.
So you were engrossed in your app and she was just shouting behind you, right?
Well, not quite like that. She's a far more professional working person than just that. But no, I'm just trying to demonstrate that that these apps are so easy to use that it's just remarkable, really. And what that does is it buys you time. It buys you time, and it saves you money as well. Like, the apps aren't free, there's free versions of them, but again, I think you look at them and go £10-20 a month, or a smaller amount over an annual period, just in one lump. It's there, you've done it then, haven't you? And if you don't use it, it's your own stupid fault.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
And yeah, you're right. The smartphones are just that. They are almost, they're computers in your pocket these days. And there isn't.
Sorry, mate, to cut over you there, but actually that's another thing. So we've got some vinyl cutters in the shop that actually operate via Bluetooth. So we can, I can do vinyl cutting from my phone. So I can be doing something else. So in the past, if I was cutting vinyl, I'd have to have my PC or my Mac open and then execute it that way.
Yeah.
And I can't be doing something else while I'm doing that. So I can't be over here watching, making sure something's embroidering correctly. But what I can do now is I can do that and be cutting vinyl from my phone at the same time. This is where I sound like a granddad or something, but it is game changing. We're always, all of us are looking for ways, and technology is always the way to do it.
So on that, obviously there are technologies fast paced, as you know, and there are going to be, let's face it, there's emerging technologies out there, the likes of augmented reality, virtual reality, those sorts of things that are going to be, going to be more and more coming into the mainstream over probably the next 5 to 10 years. Do you see those types of technologies as a help or a hindrance to your business and to your industry?
No, this is a really tricky one, isn't it? Because I think Mark Zuckerberg's view on that we'll all be living in these places, that I've got to be honest, scares the hell out of me.
It scares the hell out of me as somebody that's in, let's face it, I'm probably at a screen for 12 to 16 hours a day on average, and it scares the hell out of me. So yeah, I'm not surprised it scares you.
It's interesting. I mean, so you live a fair distance from where my shop is, and when you have to come here, you come here and you fix something, but or you'll add some sort of product for us or whatever, and it's not always a hard product; it's often a soft one. So, am I right in thinking that this whole idea is that actually we both put on a headset and we'd be in the augmented reality of 314 Croydon Road, Oakhill Embroidery, but you'd be at home, but really, virtually, you could be here, and then you're sat at the computer, and then I get the satisfaction of you being here doing the work, but actually you're not. Is that?
Yeah, in a roundabout way.
No, I don't like it. I don't want
it. That's because you wouldn't get the cuddles, right?
Well, that's exactly. That's exactly it. I don't know. Look, I think that anything like this, I think technology-wise, I remember watching Tomorrow's World when I was a kid, and that stuff used to blow your mind. And in 2022, we should have already gone through the hoverboard and silver suits and all that kind of stuff.
Flying
So
cars and all that, yeah.
I take it with a pinch of salt. I think working in the print industry, as I did, and loosely still do now, there was a lot of talk 10, 15 years ago, and it cropped up not long before the pandemic, and maybe it's still around and I'm just not noticing it or whatever, but with 3D printing, like I've seen them do 3D print houses with concrete. Yeah. I know that there was talk of kids being able to print their own suites. I know that there was talk of you give a printer out to a remote village in Africa and they're able to print
drugs and stuff. Yeah.
You know, I think stuff like that, it's like, it's a bit, I come back to like a bit of a Jerry Maguire moment. It says like, show me the money. Like, where is it? Let's do that sort of thing first, I think. Let's do things that help us first before we all start messing around having second wives in some augmented reality where we're all better looking with better teeth and not so scraggly looking hair and perfect physiques, as I know me and you would like.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Thanks for that. So my last question for you. What's next? What's next for you? What's next for Oak Hill Embroidery?
What's next for Oak Hill Embroidery? I've got a bit of I'm on a 5-year cycle at the moment. I'm into my 4th year. And I'm looking at what I'd like to achieve over the next 2 years. I think we're going through development at the moment of an interesting online platform, which I'm not going to talk about because there's quite a lot of bells and whistles with that. There's different phases as well involved in it. So, and as you know, these things can take time.
Indeed.
There's a project there that we've got about another year before we're where I want to be with it. But the first part of that should be dropping in the next 2 months. I think we're going to go into a nice big fat recession. I think cost is going to be something that people look at. I always think I'm quite lucky because I'm on the doorstep of one of the world's best cities here. So our focus is just going to be on, although we're going into a recession, doubling our turnover. And when we achieve that, we'll be looking at reinvesting in more machinery. I definitely think in terms of printed garments, there's a lot of technology that's here now already and is only going to get better. All of that really. That's what we're looking at. We're looking to grow. We're looking to reinvest and then grow again. And then at that point, we'll be ready for world domination.
Awesome. That's
in
when you will be
real
living
world,
the dream.
not an augmented one.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how embroidery would work in an augmented world.
Well, actually, you could. Is it NFTs?
Yeah. But they've been taking a dive recently. You know, they were 6 months ago. It was all the rage.
Maybe I could be some sort of NFT garment baron in a
metaverse somewhere.
Well, that is presumably the way that money would be made in these places. I mean, I'm not a gamer, but I'm aware of games like The Sims, and I'm guessing that my daughter nicked my iPad Pro very, very early into the pandemic, and she's still got it, and she's forever sending requests via iTunes that I buy her things for Toka or whatever it's called, Toka. I don't know what it's called. But presumably on Sims and stuff like that, you could buy things. I don't know. You tell me.
Probably. Again, it's been a long time since I played those sorts of games.
That's what Zuckerberg's trying to do. He's a geek, isn't he? That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to make a second world so he can make all the money in that world as well. And, fair play, go for it. I won't be there.
Awesome. So that's the future of Oak Hill. What about you? What's next for you?
Me? Weight loss. Health. I already have a bit of energy. I just know that if I weighed maybe 4 or 5 stone less than what I do at the moment, I think I would believe that I would believe I'd be happier. as well as more successful. That's the truth. I know some people might, if anybody's got this far with my drivel, people might dispute that. And I do. Happiness is an inside job, but I've been both. I've been thinner and I've been this chubby guy, and I'm very happy at the moment. But when I talk about happiness in that sense, I mean more to do with like experience and stuff. Like I do lots of stuff with my wife and my daughter and my friends and family, and even sometimes get dragged out to do stuff that I don't like with people. But I think I would be more receptive to the fun side of it if I didn't have that slight bit of weight just dragging me down.
Yeah, as a bigger guy, it holds you back, doesn't it?
It does. Well, I still go swimming and stuff, with my daughter on a Sunday, but yeah, I don't know. I always feel a little bit self-conscious. I just had a holiday recently, and we had some photos done, and my daughter's beautiful, my wife's beautiful, and I'm just like this big fat guy on the end.
That's why I always decide to be behind the camera.
Yeah, if you go onto my Instagram, there's quite a lot of like this where like I'll take the selfie like that.
Yeah.
I'll push out, stick that forward. But yeah. And I know we've been sort of talking, haven't we?
We have. Yeah. So I was up with you last week. And yeah, we had some discussions, didn't we? About potentially a way of not only helping each other, but helping other people as well.
Yeah.
And also holding each other to account.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think now's a good a time as any. But we are going to be doing a podcast together.
We are.
It's probably only going to be once a week. It's going to be once a week for probably 10, 15 minutes where we can talk about our journey that week.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to get on the scales live or anything yet. Nothing's been really set quite in stone. But
no. I mean, we could do that. I think that would probably would definitely put some accountability there. But I'm quite happy either way. I even joked and said, I don't know if you remember this one when we saw each other, when we first talked about this. So I'm a triple XL at the moment. I would rather be an XL. I've quite broad shoulders, I'm told by my mum. Yeah. So I would like to fit in an extra large polo shirt comfortably. And who knows, after that maybe down to large. So
same. I'm triple X as well, and so yeah, if we could both get down to XL by even if it's this time next year, that's a massive achievement. And like I said, if we're able to help people by talking about what we've done each week over the power of a podcast, then
well, I think the first thing we should do is we come up with a name for this podcast, we get the brand done, and I will make us some nice clothes that are in our ideal size, and maybe every now and again we'll make each other try them on, and if we're going in the right direction, it won't be a bigger deal. But if I or you, and let's face it, it'll probably be me that falters and go, I'm really sorry, a whole Black Forest Gatto, then you'll be like, put it on, and I'll be like trying to pull on this large or extra large hoodie.
That, or I'll say, that's all right, mate, I ate two.
That's not what we're going to do. We're going to support each other.
No, it's not.
We're going to support other people that want to do it as well. And I'm sure it'll be a triumph and an absolute success.
Indeed. Brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on. I know you're a busy guy. And yeah, so like I said, thank you very much. Have you got anything else you want to say before we finish?
Thank you for having me. Thank you for watching if you've got this far. Thank you for skipping through to the end if you've done that. And Tony, it's a pleasure, mate. It's always nice to be in your company, whether it's on the phone, in person, on a Zoom, in a balloon, all of them. Fantastic.
Awesome, mate. Thanks so much. And I suppose we better start planning the new podcast as well.
We will do. Coming to
Awesome.
your usual podcast providers very soon.
And I think we'll end it there. Cheers, Gareth.
Anyway, cheers, mate. Thank you.
Our tip of the episode. So, before we go on to the tip of the episode, I just want to thank Gareth for agreeing to come onto the podcast for talking about his journey and how he uses technology in his business. Our next guest is former IT business owner turned YouTuber and coach, Pete Matheson. It's one to watch, people. Right, tip of the episode. This time I'm being a bit cheeky. It's more of a plug. Every day throughout December, I am posting a tech-based tip on my YouTube channel. So rather than just one tip even, why not head over to my YouTube channel? Link will be in the show notes, where you can get 9 if you go back to the start of December. Cheeky, I know, but hey, who knows? There could just be one little nugget of information in one of those tips that could make all the difference to your business. And don't forget, that's just the first 9. There's going to be one every day until Christmas. So, we have reached the end of this episode. I've been Tony, the IT Smart Guy. Thanks again to Gareth, and thanks to you for watching or listening. I truly hope that you have found this episode insightful, and I look forward to speaking to you again in the next episode. And if you have enjoyed this episode, please do let us know by leaving a review. And we'd love for you to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks again, and see you next time. Thanks for listening to the IT Smart Guy podcast. We hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we'd love for you to like and subscribe on your podcast platform of choice.